Templates, sometimes called recipes, are essentially blueprints for something that we want to accomplish. They're very helpful from an organizational standpoint and help us to create standards and procedures, as well as to help automate redundant tasks. Over the course of this video, we're going to be talking about what templates are and why they are so important to us. Think of a template like a cooking recipe. The cooking recipe serves as a starting point for us to cook something, such as a brownie, as the template serves as our starting point for creating a render. We don't have to follow the recipe exactly, but there will always be specific things that we need to do to accomplish our task of creating a cookie, such as creating the cookie dough. This specific task can be thought of as a part or step of the template, such as the render settings, or acid injections, or another vital part that is required in order to create a render. This cookie dough can be created in many different ways. We may use a different type of flour or sugar, or add more or less of each ingredient to alter the end result. The same is true for templates, where each ingredient is actually a node, which will have a specific task to alter something in order to change the final result of our render. Now that we have a better understanding of what templates are and how they work, let's go ahead and talk about some of the specific tasks that templates will help us to automate. One great example of how templates help us is with render layers, especially if you're coming from a non-node based application such as Maya. Inside of Katana, render layers are incredibly simple to create and maintain. They are created simply through creating a separate branch in your node graph with a render node at the end of it. We can see the differences between our render layers simply by changing our view flag on the render nodes to a view of specific layer. However, we won't see any differences yet, as we have not done any modifications to this new render layer. Let's go ahead and make some changes to this render layer to see just how easy they are to create and maintain. Essentially, all we need to do is add nodes to our new branch, and they will only affect our new render layer. Let's go ahead and isolate a specific piece of geometry, such as our characters, by selecting their parent locations in the scene graph, and middle mouse drag/dropping them into an isolate node. Now if we toggle back and forth between our render nodes with the view flag, we can see that only our characters are visible inside of this new render layer. Now that we've created a new render layer, the templating process makes it incredibly easy to pass this render layer setup to other artists on our team to reuse. In its simplest form, we could copy/paste these nodes and email them to someone. However, there are other options, such as macros, which are essentially a collection of nodes that we can load with the tab menu, and live groups, which are essentially mini templates that are saved to disk that we can reference into any Katana session. Live groups provide us a great amount of flexibility by allowing us to use the same mini template in multiple Katana sessions and update that template on the go, so that everyone on our team gets the updates. We'll first need to create our live group, which will have a couple of parameters on it, which we'll be taking a look at in a second. The first thing we'll need to do is to turn on updates for the live group. We can do this by right mouse button clicking on it and going to edit contents. As we can see, the lightning bolt to the left of the live group has turned yellow, which in Katana means that we are now setting values at this location. One important thing to note is that container nodes, such as live groups and group nodes, do not have ports created for us by default. The easiest way to create these new ports is to simply press the plus button on the center of the node, and then middle mouse drag and drop any node that has ports connected to it into this area. We can see that the node has remained connected to the other nodes outside of this live group and created the ports for us. Now we've got our very first template set up. In this case, we've got a really simple example as it's just one node. However, you can put as many nodes as you'd like inside of a live group and make them as complex or as simple as you'd like. Now that we have our template ready, we still need to publish it somewhere that other people can access it and then access it. To do this, we'll jump over to the parameters and see that we have one called source. Right now, this is empty, as we are only working with a local version of the live group. However, when we load a live group in, this is the place that we'll be placing the path on disk to where the live group file is located. In order to publish this template to disk, we'll need to right mouse button over the node and go to Publish and Finish Editing Contents. This will pop up a dialog asking us where we'd like to save this live group on disk. We have now saved this mini template to disk and can load it back into any Katana session we want, as many times as we want, simply by using the path on disk we just saved to. In order to do that, we'll jump over to a new Katana file, create a live group, and paste the path on disk that we just saved to into the source parameter. Now, if we look inside of the live group by pressing Ctrl plus middle mouse button on it, we can see that we have a reference to the isolate node that was previously created. One important thing to note is that simply changing one live group will not change all of them. You'll have to publish it by using the Publish and Finish Editing Contents option and save it to the same place on disk to get the live groups to propagate to everyone that is using this node. I hope this gives you a better understanding of templates and how to start using them inside of Katana. This is really just the tip of the iceberg of the power that comes with templates. Please let us know in the comments below what you'd like to learn next about templates in Katana.